What's up, everybody? It's time to do another review. Boy, I've been a busy boy today. I'm going to get 2 videos down today. That's a good thing. That's a really good thing, I think. I tried to do this one a while back in my earlier days. Back when I didn't know anything about videos. Not saying I know a lot now, but I went way too long, and YouTube was like, nope, we're not going to do that, although we'll give the hour videos to whoever else. And that's when I realized nobody's going to watch my videos anyway, much less watch an hour of it. So this is going to be much more condensed and compressed. This is Command and Conquer Red Alert, PlayStation 1. And I had this game as a kid. I think I was probably 8 when I got it. And this was my second real-time strategy game. One of my previous videos, we covered Dune. The same studio who did Dune did this. Dune was kind of a predecessor, granddaddy to RTS. There was other ones around, I think, but that was the kind of what set the mold of gotta harvest stuff, gotta build stuff. I think Age of Empires was around as well. They had their own take on it, but Westwood kind of pushed the way this goes, and a lot of other ideas branched off of this style of RTS. And there's a lot of common norms here you'll see in RTS games after this. Now, I'll go ahead and say the biggest flaw with this game is that it just cannot handle so much going on. And when you first start it up, it runs real smooth, and eventually you'll hit just this pile of lag as so many units hit the field, as so many units are created. And usually what it is these little harvest guys will be going around and they'll get stuck, and it just logs the game down really, really bad. But aside from that, it's a really solid little RTS game. It plays a lot like you have a mouse, and I mean, you can see the pointer there, and that's because it was originally on a PC at the time. And they decided, hey, the PlayStation is a CD-based system. We can try to port it over there, and they did so. And it works pretty well for the most part. Like I said, lag's the main issue, which that can kind of be sidestepped in a few different ways. If you have an emulator, and I just figured out this recently, you can overclock the PS1 CPU, and it runs smooth. It's just that the PlayStation could not run fast enough to keep up with it. The game engine was just so much, and it just will get to this point that it crawls. It just won't move hard. I mean, you can still play the game. It's just that you'll click on, say, this guy and say, move over here. And instead of it being like that, you'll click 2 or 3 times, nothing will happen, and he'll slowly start moving over there and slowly start doing that. But back to the gameplay. It's really solid. It's very simple. You're going to build, say, one of these cats right here. He harvests this stuff. That gives you your currency up in the top corner. You can build tanks. The technology tree is very, very basic. You go up maybe 2 different branches. You go up to a radar tower. That gives you some more stuff. Then you go up to, say, a tech center, and that gives you the rest of the stuff. There is, I didn't pick a water-based level, but there is some sea units. Not very many. That's kind of a hindrance on here as well. There's other red alerts in the future that would have all kinds of boats and subs. This one, you got some subs, 2 of them. One's for boats, and then the other one's a missile-based sub that can shoot land units. The other one's like a cruiser and some other stuff. But their main focus on this one was not sea-based or air units at that. Also, there's not a lot of air units in this game. There is a decent amount of land units. There's not the best choices like you can see here, but this whole screen, if you get the other team, is filled with all these different tanks. Each varies in their use, but it's a very, like I said, it's pretty a basic RTS, because you're not going to get just piles and piles of tanks. You've got a medium tank, a big tank, a freaking large tank. It's pretty simple in that lineup. But it plays just like any of your more current modern games that are RTS genre. You can see you got to have something that harvests, and you can build base defense stuff as well. The strategies here, they're pretty much right in line with any RTS game. You can turtle up. You can start defending your guys, building them up really good, build up your base really good. You can be a rusher, so just start, sending stuff out as fast as you can, trying to take down the other guy. You can kind of balance it, mix in there. It just, like I said, it's more of a basic form. The later RTS games of this name, like Tiberium Wars for the 360 and PC, I think they refined it a little bit more, got it a little bit more down pat. You had more units, you had more style of things, and of course, it was more modern technology. See how it just kind of slowed down right there? Somebody's moving. There's a large amount of movement going on somewhere, and that usually means somebody's about to attack. I always remember being a kid, and it would just freeze, and I was like, oh boy, somebody's coming. So that's when I would start bulking up. Yeah, I look up there at the red, they're coming. It looks like they're coming for me or the purple, and they're moving down one way or another. The graphics are pretty basic. I mean, this is PlayStation 1 territory, early PC territory. One of the things that was really cool about this was the videos. There was motion video in this. If you played the storyline, it was actually like a movie. And that was really neat for the time. And I know a lot of PlayStation games took advantage of that, having full motion video in them. It was really a neat thing to see for the time. Especially on this, it kind of pushed it to like it was real. You're about to go to this battlefield and you're this commander and he's telling you what to do. And it was really, really neat to see that, especially for the time. The sound quality, besides my mic, yeah, I actually have a mic now and a headset. That's a little bit of an improvement. The music in this game is pretty good in my opinion. I like it, and I used to even take the CD out and put it in a CD player because PlayStation games you could put in a CD player and just hear the music, and it had a lot of really neat soundtracks. Just a whole CD. I think there's about 12 to 18 tracks. There's a lot of good track choices. The sound effects were pretty humorous in my opinion. There's a lot of times where you'll hear guys get squished or die, and these little crazy voices come over with it. Of course, I have the sound muted so we can focus on the gameplay and the video. But one day I would like to show you, or if I can get a better PC and able to do this better. This is all off of my phone. I'd have to say 1 to 10, this would fit right up there in between an 8.5 and a 9. It has a lot of good qualities to it. It's a pretty solid little game. It's not a perfect game, and you can tell, like I said, it's a very early RTS game in that genre, especially for its time. To do what it did for its time is really amazing. The amount of stuff that moves and does operate. And there's no limit cap. That's one thing I wanted to mention about the lag. You can build units until you fill this screen up, and they'll still move. They'll still operate. The lag is horrible, I might add, but you can just build it until your little heart's content, which is really amazing because a lot of more future games, they made a cap. They're like, no, we're not going to do that lag business. We're going to cap it, and you can only have 50 units. You can only have 100 units. So it was kind of interesting to see that this guy was like, no, that you just build to the sunset, do what you want to do with it. The controls are pretty straightforward and simple. I'd imagine, I've never played it on PC, but I'd imagine having a mouse would make the difference on this game. I have played other RTSs on a PC, and that's where PC dominates RTS games. They just work better for them. Having the mouse, having the keyboard, just typing in your commands, being able to drag and click and not have to do it with a weird square pad. It works way better for PC all the way around on any RTS game, I would say. At least the ones I've played. But for what it did on the PlayStation, it works great. It works well. It's easy to pick up and go. It's a little tad bit clunky if you haven't played it before. I might add, it plays great on the phone. It plays well on the phone. I'm using my emulator right now, and this is running touch controls. It works fine. It plays well. It is a great time killer. You can just dive into it, build your base up, pick it up anytime and go with it. I definitely recommend this game. Should try it out. Definitely should emulate it if you got an Android. That's all I got for today.